in the chat, can you let me know? I didn't run a test today, so can you let me know whether the audio is any good, please? And then we'll give it a few moments and then get started properly, I suppose. Who have we got? Get it all to settle down on the laptop. Here it comes. Good stuff. So that's coming through now. Swinley Ryder, knew you'd be there, mate. How you doing? Hey, Will. You all right, buddy? Just giving the chat a moment to come up on the laptop. So just give me a second, guys. Yeah, I'm not too bad, buddy. Not too bad at all, actually. Fairly average to middling week. All right, let's just get the video up, and then I should see the chat on my laptop. All right, Russ. I knew you'd turn up. Thanks for the support. Is the audio good, guys? Robert, how are we doing, mate? Good evening. And the audio is good. Right, I'll just give it a moment. A little different taster tonight. Got a bit of Thatcher's Haze on the go. It's quite thirsty tonight, started already. And I'm loud and clear, that is good. And Andy, it's a little bit slow on the laptop, but yeah, good evening also. Audio spot on, cool. All right, that's good news. Well, we'll see how many people we get in the chat tonight. Regardless, we've got 11 people in here now. And you know the deal, guys. Just kind of ask away any questions, stuff like that. I've only got a couple of things really I'm going to mention tonight. And one of them is actually that I'm going to be staying in Portsmouth for another year for definite. So if you don't know, sort of we move around positions and jobs as the career progresses, and I found out on Monday that I'm going to be staying exactly where I am, which is good news. So it means I'll be with my family for one, but in a job that I quite enjoy, and then probably around next March I'll be looking to move somewhere else. So I'm not really sure where that's going to be, whether it's local or not, but it's something I can worry about later on in the year. Sarah, how are you doing? There's always this lag on the laptop for the comments, but it does get there. So what I noticed after the last stream is that it could be quite sort of slow for me to catch up with some of the comments on there. So when I watched some of it back, I could see that I'd actually missed some comments on there. So I do apologize for that. And maybe if I don't give something a shout, just ask the question again. And of course, I will do my absolute best to answer it as accurately as possible. But let me throw a question your way first of all. Have you seen the recent news of the Bike Park Wales, the new sort of system that they're going to be doing up there shortly? What do you think of that, guys? If you don't know, from what I read, haven't sort of gone into the weeds of it, it's £37 a ticket. I'm not sure when it starts, but they're breaking the sessions up into 4-hour slots. So you've got like the AM into the PM slot, and then I think it's from 2 probably to about whatever time for the second slot. What do you think about that? You know, especially as someone that has to, you know, I'm talking about myself, but have to travel up probably 7 hours of driving for a 4-hour slot. I just don't know. I don't know whether that's a wise move. I mean, people are quite clearly going to pay it, but just seems really disappointing for most of us that have to travel around, that's the way it's going to be. Matt, how are you doing, mate? And from Will, yeah, shocking, won't work for long. It's not long enough. And totally agree, mate, because by the time you get in that uplift service to take you up to the top, and then if you're going to naturally stop and have a natter between runs, you're not actually going to get that many in, which seems a bit ridiculous for what that place is trying to achieve. It's a real shame. And yeah, Andy Wedge, yeah, not been yet, but seems ridiculous. And that's the thing, Andy, because I suppose you don't know what it was like before. You pay a little bit more, I think. I can't even quite remember the price now, it's been that long. But you would get on that uplift at 10 o'clock and you would be there until the very last uplift of the day, 4 o'clock. So it kind of made it worth it. And you could stop for lunch for about half an hour to an hour, as long as you want, and then crack on again. But yeah, it's a real shame that that's the sort of move they're making. You know, like I say, clearly they're going to still rake a lot of money in from it. So If it works for them, then fair play. It just doesn't personally work for me. I'd rather travel up to Wales and probably ride some natural trails that go through the period of a whole day. Robert Bag saying, yeah, it won't work. It's just too much money. I totally agree, because if you live like me quite far away from it, it's cost me 60, 70 quid in fuel alone. And then, of course, you've got to pay for that ticket as well, pay for food and all the other bits. It becomes the most expensive day out for not the best amount of time on the track. It's a real shame that they've done that. Ben Gillett, evening. How you doing, buddy? Hope you like that jersey, mate. You said you did. Get another order in. Russ, yeah, I guess I have to try claw back what they've missed out due to the lockdown. Bad for the consumer, but a weekend trip is less of a shaft. Yeah, I totally agree, mate. If you're going to go out there for the whole weekend, it is a good point. Then that's more worthwhile doing, most definitely. But what I would say is I wouldn't want to spend, I suppose if I went up there and rode on a Saturday and then rode somewhere else on a Sunday, that would be good. But I always liked the idea of just being able to go there, spend the whole day there, and then travel back home and have some of the weekend with the family. A bit sort of strange, really. I can't remember when that's actually coming in, so I'm gonna have to work out the sort of stuff that I want to achieve really when everything opens back up. But I think for me personally, it's going to be more of the natural stuff, like I said last week, Concarn, Avan, and Caerphilly, Barry Sidings up there with Will, if you're still sort of showcasing people around. I think that's going to be the options that I look to do, maybe, and making a weekend of that sort of stuff and saving quite a bit of money by not going to Bike Park Wales at all. Yeah, Aaron, I'd go midweek for a 6-hour session. Yeah, totally. It doesn't seem so bad at that point, does it really? But Andy is looking forward to getting up there, but up to Forest of Dean at some point, and you'll absolutely love that place, as I do. And I need to get back up there. And Darcy's in the chat now. Darcy, I will be hooking up with you for a trip up at FOD when we're able to do that, mate. So that's an absolute definite. Back for more. I hope you've had a good weekend. Any news on the next jersey order? Darcy, the jersey order is in the group now. So if you want to head over, order one of those. I've only had one order so far. I suppose it's quite hard for people given the fact that people are probably furloughed. Worst case, sort of lost their jobs, and obviously the money has to be prioritised for other things. But if you want to go and place an order, then that'd be wicked if you did that, mate. So go head over. And I will turn up to Barry Sidings, definitely. And I'd like to think I'll do a little bit better this time, seeing as I've improved since my last visit. Can't use the excuse that I'm ill again. And Will, cheers for ordering also from Slick Whips, absolutely fantastic. So like it. Swindley Rider, agree. Travelling there is another factor which Bike Park Wales hasn't thought about. Probably most of their customers are not local. Totally agree. And I think if anything, we'll see how that plan evolves, see what happens, and maybe it's quite easy to sit around a table and think this is the best solution to financial problems being resolved, but it actually might resort back to what it was previously if too many of the customer base are thinking the same thing, I think. So we'll just have to wait and see on that one. Matt Hampton, he's good. Bike Park Wales, been a few times, only gone on weekdays when it's cheaper. Anyways, still go there, but on a weekday. Personally, I like to book a day's holiday and have me a day. I totally agree, mate. And I'm the same, try and get up there and make an absolute session of it. Just unfortunately, because my wife works most days in the week, and so do I, to be honest, it just makes it difficult. So sometimes those weekend passes are the only ones that I can... only one that I can get. So Robert Bag sort of saying, do I ride with any GPS? I do, but not all the time. I use the Garmin Vivo Active 4. I've got that as just my standard fitness tracker for anything I do fitness-wise, but I also have the Garmin, oh Christ, I can't remember what it is now, the Garmin 510, I think it is, GPS. I used it up in the Peak District. I've used it on some routes up at Hindhead, some other areas where I've put a GPX file in, and I've found it to be absolutely perfect. And in fact, last time I used it properly was in October when we went to Coedy Brennan, and it navigated us around some trails that I had stuck into it there. So they're absolutely brilliant, but they're only good when you actually need to use a GPS. So I wouldn't necessarily go out and say spend an arm and a leg on one, but Garmin, by far for me, is the best brand out there. So any one of those in the range is generally good. And one of the ones I did like, but was out of stock everywhere at the time, was the Explorer. So go and have a look at that one. Actually tried it, really nice, easy to use, and relatively cheap, to be honest. And like most things, I actually bought it secondhand as well, so I got it so much cheaper than it would have retailed for in the actual shop. Bike Park Wales 4-6 hour deal is only from the 24th of April through to the 29th of August. Yeah, there you go then. So that's not too bad actually. So I hadn't really read into any of that detail, but it's one of those places that when restrictions lift, everybody's going to want to bomb burst over to Bike Park Wales probably and have an epic session up there just to get back into the swing of riding trails again. And to be honest, you know, if I can make a weekend of it, I probably would anyway. But yeah, we'll just have to sort of see how it goes. Little Smoley, so how are we doing? And that's Tinacoid. I can never pronounce them properly, so please bear with me. You can recommend it, yeah. Haven't heard of that one, so I'll definitely have a look at that and see what it's all about. And that's kind of the thing of this year, really. So many different sort of ideas of things that I want to do, but as we all know, sort of waiting to see what happens. Now, what I did see on a snippet on the news, Boris Johnson is going to be announcing some kind of a way forward from the 22nd of February, I believe. So maybe some restrictions might start to lift this month and we can go out and sort of, you know, however it works out, ride together and go and shred the trails again. So I'm just really looking forward to being able to do that, because that'll be 2 months on that spin bike at that point. So I really do need to get onto my own bike. And Andy Wedge is saying he has the Edge Explorer, yeah, no, not Explorer. It's a great size screen if following a route. Yeah, I borrowed it off somebody else, and that's what made me realise I wanted one. So I decided to go for the much smaller one, and it was cheaper as well, to be honest, and it does the same sort of job. So yeah, I'd recommend it if you want to find your way around. It's better than using the phone, and they last so much longer. Simon Halsey, how are we doing, mate? Nice hat, totally. Just covering up this again. Will, Mag, evening, mate. How are we doing? Swindley Rider down the bottom there. We've got, going back to the subject last week or so about QECB becoming more of a bike park facility. Do you think maybe in the future there could be an uplift service if more trails were built? I'll be honest, I don't think so, no. You know, it'd be fantastic for some of the stuff we do. It'd make some of those journeys a lot more enjoyable there, but it's one of those places that it's not a bike park, it's a country park. So, you know, it's got to cater for everybody. You get walkers, horse riders up there, you get lots of running races. There's all these sort of events up there, and there's assault courses for the kids and picnic areas and all the other bits. And I think just to have that sort of stuff there might be a little bit too much, if I'm honest. And for the stuff that's up there, it's not really worth having that sort of service. So, but you can do a good majority of QECP anyway when you just go up there and ride it for the day. So, you know, just it depends how good your legs are to how much you can sort of do there, because it can be quite challenging. But yeah, it would be nice, mate, but I can't ever see that happening. And Andy would definitely use that uplift at QE, I agree, mate, because even 2-hour sessions up there can be 3,000 feet in elevation, depending what sort of sides of the trails you ride and stuff. But it is absolutely hideous up there sometimes on the legs. So yeah, it's one of those places. An e-bike would be the better thing to have rather than an uplift. As I found out when I took one up there, I did all the trails probably about twice in literally half the amount of time. I mean, what can you say? I went back to the van with no battery in the e-bike, and it was cracking, absolutely cracking. Andy Pinder, regarding Bike Park Wales, they open 1 hour earlier and close at 7. So the price per hour is roughly the same. So 48 for 6 hours or 37 for 4.5. And you can book both sessions, but one at a time on the uplift screen. Okay, cool, mate. Yeah, cheers for that. You know, it's handy to know And to be honest, I'm not. I mean, I love Bike Park Wales. Don't get me wrong. I do love it. It's just one of those places you can go and have an absolutely wicked time. But there's just so many other places I want to go to where you wouldn't have to pay anything to go and ride there, and you could just, like Coedy Brennan, go round one big trail of a day and have an absolute blast, depending who you're going with. So. I think I'm going to try and experience a bit more of that this year round, rather than sort of paying the bike park money. But you watch, I'll be producing videos up there, talking shit, and I'll be up there myself anyway. I'm just going to call you Discos, man. It's a lot easier. Hey, Mike, and the Mop, how are you doing, mate? Yeah, I'm good, mate, and I hope you're doing well as well. Russ would take an uplift out of that quarry. If you haven't been to the QECP quarry, that can be quite hectic to get out of as well. So yeah, totally agree. And anything to make it easier to get out of any areas of QE would be good. But let me tell you, just again, it's not the uplift. It could be the e-bike. So, you know, maybe go and have a look at those. Roy, good evening. How are we doing, mate? I'm on that tonight, mate. Thatcher's Haze. Aaron, who doesn't love the bastard fire road? I'll be honest, mate, I don't like it. But you're some kind of a weirdo that likes to go faster up there than you do down any trail. So you know, fair play to you, mate, but it's not for me. Laura, you're right. So much fun at Bike Park Wales on the e-bike. Yeah, I remember seeing you there last time with you and your mate. I can't remember her name. Do apologise, but yeah, she and yourself had a good time up there. So absolutely wicked. And yeah, I the more I sort of talk about it, the more I want one. And I've also got Pin TV. So I've probably got Jim in. I can see you're going live tonight. So I hope you're doing well, Jim, because I did see your post on Instagram saying something about the virus, so maybe you can shed some light on there. Have you been isolating, or did things get serious for a moment there? But Diffie off-piste kicks ass. Yeah, I want to go up there as well. I wouldn't mind going to the bike park for one, just seeing what sections I can do up there. And I know you and Todd have been there, but I've also done. If I'm thinking the right area, Diffie was the Marin Trail, was it? But that was more of obviously a set trail, but we didn't know where any of that off-piste stuff was, and it'd be absolutely wicked to be sort of shown around those areas and have a better time up there, maximising the journey to get there as well, which would be great. Will recommend Cumcarn to anyone. Yeah, I love it up there. How much off-piste stuff is there though? I've only really ever done the official stuff there because I've not ridden with anybody that knows the area well enough to sort of take us round and show us the new stuff. So, Will, let us know in the comments, mate. Is there a lot of off-piste stuff in Cumcarn? Swinley Rider, the red climb running parallel to the A3 is a killer. That red climb is something that I would normally do every Tuesday with Simon Halsey, who's in the chat somewhere. And we would go up there every Tuesday and do that for fun. Part of a fitness lap to keep ourselves sort of at this level, and then we would do that run once and then come out the bottom of the red. You know, it's an absolute killer, the whole thing really, and then go and do the blue trail as a whole 2 or 3 times within that session. So it turns out to be just over an hour normally, with no breaks, just top to bottom, maximizing the fitness sessions, and it is an absolute killer. But I haven't been able to do that. So, yeah, looking forward to getting back out there and at least trying that one again. Roy's got a question for me. Are there any features in local spots which have defeated you and are on your list to conquer? I've got a big gap hip on the April line at Stoughton. Yeah, that whole Stoughton line is something that bothers me. But I'll be honest, Roy, everything at QE I can do, which is good. But going back to Stoughton, the one thing that honestly annoys me is the fact that I can't do that dirt jump on, the Black Trail. Bring it back to me. Can't remember what it's called. Cannot remember what it's called. But I'd love to be able to do that, and I've got the ability to do it. I know I have, but something just puts me off every single time, and I can never sort of bring myself to do it. And I think, to be honest, it's just the amount of injuries, and if I balls it up, I know I'm going to be off the bike for a while, and that bothers me. But I've done pretty much everything at Rogate within my limit, so I'm happy with that. But yeah, just that one at Stoughton, and maybe one day you can just sort of bring me back down to earth and tow me in on that one, because that would be amazing for me to do that one this year. I've just got to be in the right mindset with not too many people watching me, so you don't get put off and do stupid things just to throw yourself into it. So yeah, just a private session there, maybe, Roy, would help. I can't remember what that trail is called though. Disco, yeah, if you have an Ebe, the bastard fire road is called the Cool Fire Road. I totally agree with that, mate. I mean, it's one of that bastard fire road is an absolute killer. The Vale. Thank you, mate. God, kind of local knowledge is key. I can't even remember myself, but yeah, that bastard fire road. Once you've done all those trails out at Head Down, is an absolute killer to get back to the other side of QE where all the official trails are. But the one thing I've never done is got off that bike and walked. So no matter how much it kills me and how slow it is, I always get myself up there, get that GX 52 tooth engaged, and I'm up there. Jim, yeah, you're not on to 8. Passed out, fresh out of hospital. Had better fun. Jesus Christ, mate. Well, yeah, I doubt you want to say everything on here, but yeah, I hope you get better there, Jim. Never nice to see, mate. I was just thinking it could be the old COVID and stuff, but you know, to sort of be let out that quick, it seems like it's not that. But mate, yeah, once I finish mine, I'll probably log on to yours. So I'll see you over at your one. Andy, you are right. It's the Climax Trail. Yeah, the Marin Trail. That is something else I did. Christ, I'm having an absolute brain fart tonight. I can't remember where that Marin Trail is. And I think that's where I met Jim as well, on the Climax Trail, I believe. Or it could have been the Marin one. Too much of this. That's the problem, I think. So Diffie off-piste is at Maklerlef. I think I'm pronouncing that right. But no, that's good news. But not Climax. Okay, got you. And Will answering the question, off-piste can come, not much is around, but there's a lot of places like Orchwith. Oh, mate, Castle Cooch. I used to ride there all the time. That's a bit of a blast from the past with the South Wales group. Some really good trails up there. And I purposely left the other ones out of that, out of your submission there, because I can't pronounce them, mate. So I think that's why you put them. Good spelling though, mate. Christ. I always found with the Welsh, it seems like you just got a Scrabble game and got all those letters, jumbled them up, threw the letters on the floor, and just decided, yeah, that's what we'll call this place. It's just, you know, high scoring names, aren't they? Swindley Rider, I think back in the summer, this time last year, the Rangers were kicking MTB. Yeah, that might have been us actually up there, Swindley Rider, because I wouldn't even say it's because it's an MTB Fanatics thing, because that would be a bit ridiculous, but obviously it's our local and we do ride up there a lot. So it's just one of those perfect opportunities where the ranger sort of sees, I know these guys, they're local, MTB Fanatics kind of thing. And then sort of, it was actually done quite politely, to be honest. It wasn't, right, get off here now, guys. It was, right, there's stuff going on up here at the moment. If you could just stick over to the other side, just inform other people to sort of stay out of this area for the moment. That would be really good. And then, you know, wait till sort of things die down as such, and then come back over and have another ride. And that's exactly what we did. But yeah, they do police it quite a bit more than you would think up there compared to other places. But I also heard, I saw it in a feed. I don't think it was in the Fanatics feed, but the police and the Forestry Commission are still heavily policing the Hindhead area as well. So, you know, it's obviously causing a bit of concern locally at the moment with all the stuff that's going on. So, yeah, hopefully it doesn't spoil it for too long. But I mean, the saving grace is actually that the weather is pretty crap still. So um, don't really feel like I'm missing out too much at the moment. But when it does dry up, I really hope that we can just get out there and crack on as usual. And Will, no worries, mate. Thanks for joining the chat. Hope your rotator cuff is doing well. Will Mosley is someone I ride with. Haven't ridden with him for a while, obviously, because of what's going on. But he came off at speed, which actually means he just came off because coming off at speed remains to be seen. But he's hurt his shoulder, and I know how that feels. So honestly, mate, you have to take that easy. And the thing is, every time you come off now, I don't know what it is. You seem to be drawn to landing in the same area, and then it just gets worse and worse and worse. So just ride better, mate. It's it's the way it is. But I do hope you get better soon, mate. In all honesty, it's not nice coming off. So yeah, getting injured makes it a little bit worse. But yeah, you'll be all right, bud. Darcy, heavy police present at FOD. Oh, right, okay. So 7 Welsh dudes busted the other weekend when I was up there. What were they busted for? Just like riding there? Christ, it just seems to be pretty hectic at the minute. Or is this because of just sort of COVID and all the restrictions, which makes obviously a lot of sense because FOD is a area that you are allowed to ride. So I'm assuming they were in a group or something like that, and then you know, sort of got busted up from there, which I think, in all honesty, is fair enough. You know, people will do what they do, and if you can get away with it, they'll do it. When you get caught, it's just unlucky, I suppose. But you know, during these times, you've got to sort of play the game, really. Will, I'm glad you give me the thumbs up there, mate. That's all good. Will, you're such a gimp, Will. Sorry, Russ. Can you recommend the chicken korma supplier? Oh dear. We all know that's not my. I used to be a foul boy, but I'm a Vindaloo guy these days. You know what I mean? But yeah, korma's for you, Russ, I believe. Roy, if Will was on flats, he wouldn't have crashed. Yeah, there seems to be quite a few videos where you can't unclip properly, so I can't say too much about that. I've never even tried them, but I just don't like the idea of something going horribly wrong and being stuck to that bike. It's bad enough when the bike goes away from me, so never mind it actually being sort of part of my crash. But yeah, people enjoy and like what they like, so that's kind of it. Will, we aren't allowed over the border. Oh dear. And from Darcy, yeah, they're gone as a group. It's just, well, that's a bit stupid, really, isn't it? But you know, yeah, I don't like to talk too much about it. I've decided to stay in, as you guys know, so I'm just keeping it real by staying at home. And I must say that is my 4th week of Monday to Friday on that spin bike, and I'll be weighing myself next Friday just to see what's happened in 10 days of spinning exercise effort. So I lost 2.6 kilos in the 10 days of exercise previous. So I'm hoping to be within that same sort of range, if I'm honest, because I've been eating well, but eating and drinking a little bit at the weekend. So you've got to have that balance of doing well, but relax a little bit to enjoy yourself at the weekend. But I hope it works out for me. Sarah, all this talk about Bike Park Wales and the others, can't wait to go to them it's moving. When we are all allowed out again. The Trek Remedy arrived, went out Thursday. I bloody love it. I'll be going out again tomorrow in all the mud. It's just a fantastic bike. The Trek Remedy, I don't think you can go wrong with it. Any bike in that range, whether it's the Slash, the Remedy, you're going to have a wicked time on that, and it's money well spent. And they are spec'd really well, I think, for the money you spend on them as well. So no, I'm glad to hear that you're enjoying that. And in the group, you know, post some pics up of those rides as well. It'd be good to see. From Will, clips stops the bike bouncing down the trail away from you as you sit in a heap watching. I got size 14 feet. I mean, my feet seem to stay on quite well sometimes, but yeah, I get what you mean. But it's, I suppose, looking at the other side for me, and it's just whether it's me personally or not, you know, the feeling might extend out, but it's that moment where you do need to get off the bike or to put a foot out to stop yourself. that's the bit that's always bothered me, I think, and probably the fact that getting size 14 clip-ins isn't as easy as it might sound. Andy Wedge, prosthetic leg, MTB and clipped in is the making of my worst nightmare. Oh dear, mate. Yeah, that's cracking with the prosthetic leg as it is, but yeah, clipped in, not a good call at all. So yeah, Andy, top draw for that, mate. Good decision. Darcy, your spinning is awesome. Really impressed. Love the shell next to the TB2, but you know that. Yeah. For those, I knew this was an edit that wouldn't do particularly well. And I've kind of discovered what does well, what doesn't do so well. So I didn't want to invest too much time in that one. I originally thought, you know, I'm going to stick the DSLR up, do some really good editing and angles and all the other bits and pieces, get the mic on and get the audio really good. But then I just thought, reality is there's going to be a select few people that probably want to watch this, and then that's absolutely fine. So I just kept it with a GoPro. The bike is absolutely wicked. The Peloton sessions are absolutely amazing. And then just, it gives me personally the motivation I need to do it. And that shell came from a German frigate when I was working down in Plymouth. I went on that particular ship to help supervise the shoot that they were doing at the time. And they fired about 80 of those shells. And I said to them, look, can I have one of those? And they came up with a few of them for me to sort of hand out to the people that I worked with. So yeah, it's absolutely incredible experience. And you know, it's a nice little memento from the Germans there for me to take home. But I also have one in the garden. I'm not going to bring it in from the very first time I fired my own shell on HMS Lancaster in about 2003, and that was a 4.5-inch shell, and it was the very first shell to be fired out of that gun by me, because we chalked it up so that when I went up to the upper deck I could see it there on the floor. So it's not as good condition as some of the others that fell out, but it's the very first one I fired, and it means a lot to me. And it's in the garden so that when we have people round, which is a bit of a novelty really, isn't it? They can use it as a garden ashtray. So that's the limits of what that actually turned out to be in the end. From Will, actual question, do you know any secret trails that have been ruined over lockdown after people finding it and trashing? I don't personally know, mate, but that's just purely because I haven't been out for so long now. But what you do see on a lot of the groups, and you know, I'm sort of a member of most groups, to be honest, and I saw some on the South Wales group recently. I know we're not sort of local to that, all of us, but you know, these are kind of trails that have been around for a long time, and then people have gone in there, demolished features, put all the trees, and got to the point where like fishing lines getting put from one tree to another to sort of almost decapitate you. It's just ridiculous. So it's not so bad at QE at the moment from what I see, but QECP as my local seems to suffer from it all the time, where people will just put stuff over and cause problems. And it's a real shame that that sort of relationship exists between sort of the riders and, I'm going to say, the walkers, or just the sort of MTB haters, let's say, and they go and sort of ruin it for other people. And what they probably don't realise is just how much sort of danger they're putting riders in when they do that. That's the real disappointing thing. So it's a shame. But Will, let us know if there's anything locally sort of that's happened down here that I may not have heard of, because yeah, I'd be interested to hear. Bill Barron, welcome. Haven't seen you here yet, so thank you for dropping in, mate. Can confirm clips make people fall off bikes. Cough, Will, cough. Yeah, you were there the other day, I believe, looking at the post you put up. So yeah, it's just one of those things, personal preference, and if you can stay clipped in, good. But the moment you get that ass twitching moment, it could be absolute disaster. And Will, he needs a 4.5 shell, only got 30mm casings. Yeah, need to get on a proper ship then, Will, and then it will happen. Oh, don't hate me for it, mate. It's just the way it is. I've got one from Jim here. So he's got to isolate. So doing an opposite of a dream build called Ship Build with a £20 bike. Going to be daft as hell. I look forward to seeing that. I really do. I'm going to assume maybe you've got something off the marketplace there, or somebody's giving you something and then you just got to get it serviceable at least, and then get it out there. I see that on a lot of people's channels actually, where they go and buy cheap bikes. I think Deke's done it recently, didn't he? I say recently, it's probably months ago now, but he went up there with a group of mates who got all these cheap bikes on the Facebook Marketplace and eBay, and went shredding up in Puddletown, and it looked really fun, to be honest. So I look forward to seeing what you guys do. But to be honest, Jim, Todd will still be just as good on that as he is on his as he is on his sort of bigger build bikes. So I'm looking forward to seeing you, Jim, more than anyone. And from Roy, would you rather ride a hardtail on any trail you want forever, or ride a full sus only trails within 50 miles from home? Ooh. Well, this is the thing, you see, isn't it? You know, because I would love to be able to ride absolutely anything, but you just get used to a full sus, I think, and the comfort that it delivers when you're out on the trail. So, you know, there's some places I took a hardtail to Tidworth Freeride because my bike was broke at the time and I didn't enjoy it. I struggled to enjoy it because the terrain up there is just absolutely hideous. So to sort of be able to take a hardtail on any trail, it does put you to a new level of riding because you just have to control it so much more. But when you get on a full sus, it's like just going down cloud nine if you've got the right setup, and top to bottom can just be so exhilarating. So for me, it would have to be a full sus, but you know, I'd love a hardtail just to go on other trails and do more of the sort of XC riding, which I really miss at the moment, going up South Downs, that kind of stuff, that just on the Stanton, as I've said previously, it just isn't enjoyable. Which is no fault of Stanton's, of course. That's what that bike's about. But yeah, to answer your question, mate, it'd be a full sus for me. Roy is saying, yeah, we should defo do a cheap bike day with the group when we're allowed. Yeah, I agree, mate. And to be honest, all right, it's not something I haven't thought about before, but I've never bothered to sort of follow it through. But when you go onto the marketplace at times, you can type in free bike in there and you can get all sorts on there. So whether this stuff is remotely working, right, is a different thing. But if you just take it in the garage, if you've got a bit about you and you know how to sort of do basic repairs, you could have an absolute laugh at that. And actually, Roy, I think you're onto something there. So Jim, not copying you, it's just a good idea. We might use it as well. From Russ, yeah, the Apollo. That was one of my first bikes, I think, an Apollo. In fact, my dad at home still has a Rally Max in the shed, I think, which was mine from about 25 years ago. So I wonder what state of repair that's in. I might even have a look at that. Bill Barron, do you think it's right for MTBers to wear spandex if they aren't racing? I want to get my PBs down and I'm thinking about it. Russ. Oh, sorry, that's from Bill, sorry. Bill, I think you just need to concentrate about going faster, mate, and not being scared of your own shadow sometimes. So don't worry about the clothing so much. Just maybe just think of letting go of the brakes. But mate, I'd love to see you in spandex, to be honest. And I think you did all the road riding and all that kind of stuff. So you probably have some of that around your house anyway, won't you? Bill Barron needs to be faster than Will. Yeah, I'll leave that competition with you two because I'm faster than the pair of you, so we're all right, aren't we? Andy Wedge, will the real Bill Barron please stand up? And Swinley Rider, I think since lockdown there has been a lot of other users who don't want to share the open space with us MTB. I have seen posts of trails being sabotaged recently as well. Yeah, it's a real shame. And to be honest, when you think about it, I just can't get my head around why people do it. You know, the time spent to do all this kind of stuff. It's a shame that people feel that that's the move they need to take to put people at risk. I just honestly don't get it whatsoever. I really don't. But what I am hoping to do, of course, is by sort of that 22nd of February, I'm really hoping it's kind of this where we get some kind of announcement of moving forward. and then I would have done about by the 22nd, by about 7-8 weeks on that spin bike. I'm hoping to just be ripping around the trails locally to where I am, and I'm looking forward, and hopefully a lot of you guys are sort of locally in the chat right now, to having a session up at Rogate as well. I just think that's going to be one of those places I can go, and I'm going to be able to get my iron back up there, and then once things dry out a bit more, start going a bit more regular up Stoughton as well. But if you're up for Rogate, it'd be wicked to join some of you guys in the chat and go up there and just session things and get the confidence back up. And then obviously ride locally as well at QECP. And Surrey Hills is somewhere that I'm going to have to throw myself into again, because I haven't been there for what seems to feel like such a long time now. So I'm really looking forward to having a blast up there with you guys and getting those events back in the MTB Fanatics page. I mean, that's what the group's all about, and it just, things couldn't come at a worse time, could they? You know, I create a group based on people riding together, and you just can't get out. It really sucks that things have worked out that way, but it is what it is, and we make the most of it, and people are still getting out. But I'm really looking forward to that group flourishing again once we can sort of go out there and hit those trails. And Will is saying that Revs has had some issues with people sabotaging trails as well. That's one place I didn't expect it to happen, to be honest, seeing as it's proper bike park up there, so that's a real shame. But that's another place that has some, if you haven't been, some mega trails up there, and I've probably done about 75% of the trails up there, but I'd love to go back again, because, you know, like other places, that was the first time I've been. I was lacking a bit of confidence, to be honest. The weather was really bad, and I was getting spooked out by sort of some of the features up there. But this was a couple of years ago, so I'd like to go up there now and just see where the land lies with how things have improved as time's gone on. So it's a shame to hear, but Revs, to be honest, it's such a good place. They're probably all over those trail repairs, getting them back. But it's just, yeah, what's the absolute point in destroying things for people? I just don't get it. Swinley Rider, would you consider doing a weekly live video after post-COVID and post-lockdown? I would consider it, but we'll just have to see how it goes, I think, because once post sort of COVID and post-lockdown has passed, I just know I'm going to be absolutely mad at work, because things have sort of settled down a little bit, you know, and we're running the same routines that the government expects you to do. So if you don't need to be there, work from home kind of thing, but that doesn't stop the fact that still got to teach people, and still got to deliver training to the front line, etc. So when those courses do start to run more frequently, it's just going to be hard work to sort of dedicate too much time to this. So I'll do my best, I think. And, you know, we've got 24 in the chat today. I enjoy doing it, and I'd like to keep doing it, yes, to answer the question, but we'll just have to sort of see how it all pans out, I suppose. Herbination, I keep going through bottom brackets now. This wouldn't be a problem if it wasn't an odd size. Do you think I should swap out my parts on the new frame so I can get a better bottom bracket? What have you got, first of all, mate? Because I don't have too much experience with this sort of stuff, but somebody in the chat might, because I use SRAM bottom brackets to go with my SRAM Eagle group sets. It's all I've ever used when I've had a more premium bike, and I like them. So I tend never to have any problems with those ones, but that's not to say Shimano and whatever brands out there, Hope, etc., might be equally as good. So let us know a bit more detail there, Herbination, because all I can sort of say is SRAM, which isn't everybody's cup of tea. I've had no faults with those. Roy, yeah, agree, mate. Revs, that's unbelievable as an official bike park. Not the kind of place you'd want to come off due to the sabotage either. Yeah, exactly, mate. It's absolutely crazy up there, and to think people are doing that, it's just, yeah, it's gutting, to be honest. Will, you're going to Morzine this year, if allowed. What sort of dates? It's the beginning of June. I'd have to load it up on the phone. It's almost the first week of June for 7 days. And to be honest, what do you think, guys? Do you think that's actually going to go ahead or not? Because it's all paid for. Spending money is pretty much there. And, you know, this was supposed to be an event that was going on last year and got cancelled. So I hope it goes ahead, because you know, it's the one thing that I'm really looking forward to doing this year. It's been on a bucket list ever since the day I started getting more seriously into mountain biking, and I'd just be devastated if I couldn't go, and then had to wait another year. And the downside to that is I start another job next year, and I don't know if I can guarantee myself the time off either. So I need to go this year really to make sure I can sort of maximise the chances of actually getting there. Enemy Tunes. So we've got opinions on Cannock Chase trails. I did an edit up there last year, probably around March, April time last year, and I didn't think it was that great, but we only got to go on one element of the trails up there because the other was closed. I'm going to be honest, I can't remember what it was called. There's something dog up there, I'm sure. But the trail we went on was quite boring, to be honest, for the drive that we did to get there. But I've been told that the downhill, the off-piste, and the other section of trail that was unfortunately closed is absolutely amazing. So because of that, I've been invited back up there by a few people that are in the Fanatics Facebook page, and I'm going to go up there and give it another go. So looking forward to doing that. And I think when I do put that together, I'll be looking to do a few places over a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, like I did the first time I went, just to maximise sort of the time driving up there and coming back, etc., and just make a weekend of it. So Russ is someone I ride with quite frequently. So if you've got any questions with the bottom bracket, he is a guy that is sure to answer. I'm just not sort of technically minded enough when it comes to stuff outside of what I use myself. So I know that might be completely useless, but there is someone in the chat that can probably answer that. Darcy, thanks for joining in on the chat again, mate. I'm here all the time, which is superb, supporting it. And off to order the jersey. Like it, mate. Yeah, Swinley Rider. Amelia, who is my youngest child, she's 8 years old. She saw the news earlier that this sort of snow blanket is looking to hit the UK, and she is super excited. But I just, honestly, I'm like this for her, that it's going to actually come here because it's -5 on Monday from what I saw. I think the snow hits tomorrow. It would be amazing if the kids could go out and have a bit of a blast. And to be honest, I might even do a local trail in the snow just to get out there, because we haven't had snow here that's settled in my area for about probably for about 10, 11 years, I'd say. Which kind of sucks when everybody else is getting it. Will, you're in Morzine the 3rd to the 10th of June, so see you out there. Yeah, that sounds absolutely like the times that we're there, mate. So to be honest, if we do bump into each other, that'd be wicked. So I'm going to be taking the van. I don't know how you're getting there, but yeah, the T5 will be making that long journey all the way to Morzine. Hopefully it gets us there. But yeah, really feeling quite confident that we'll be able to go. So I'm just not going to think about it too much. Like I say, it's all done and dusted payments wise. So all I need to do is just throw the bike in the van, get all our gear together. There's 12 of us going, and just hopefully go and have the time of our life for 7 days up there. Yep, Storm Darcy tomorrow, just saying. You know it. Yeah, looking forward to seeing everybody's pics when they go out and ride it, because that's just the way it is when snow hits. Russ, there will be a shock to the system, given you never say bloody work. Very true. And Herbination, he has the SRAM power spline currently. Russ, do your thing. I'm not too sure about any of that sort of stuff. See what you can offer that guy. So Enemy Tunes, I recommend riding lower and upper cliff near there. That's the sections that were closed when I went up there. It's a fun experience, and I live in the area, and that's exactly the sort of thing you need to hear, really. So if you've got someone local like yourself, buddy, then you can give that proper information. We didn't have a clue where we were going, but like I say, as soon as we got into the trail centre, you could see that one section of the better side of Cannock Chase was closed off, which was a real shame. But we actually came away from it thinking that it was pretty crap. But I know, and I've been reliably informed, it's not. We just went up there on a very unlucky day. Andy Pinder, see, this is why I like having people in the chat that remember things. But yeah, Follow the Dog. I think that was the one that we went on. It's not as good, but there's some good off-piste too, and Style Cop nearby, which I've seen on YouTube actually, and there seems to be some pretty epic stuff up there. So yeah, when we can, I'm gonna drive up there and hopefully give it another go. And Andy, just don't have a snowball fight, you'll get nicked. Oh dear. Thing is, I don't like losing snowball fights either, so I probably me against the kids, and maybe the wife might even come out and have a go, but I hope so. I hope so. It's dry out here at the moment, so it would set absolutely perfectly if it does happen. Swinley Ryder, no one, fingers crossed it does. It snowed here about 2 weeks ago or so. More snow, please. Yeah, totally. And the Berlingo will be going, mate. That's great to hear. I love the fact that I sold my van to somebody who is in the Fanatics group. So I'm glad it's worked out for you, mate. Absolutely solid van that was. So yeah, many more adventures in that, I'm sure. And tunes also. Did you get your? How did you get your sponsors? Just curious, as I don't know how that process works. I'll be honest. I built up a good sort of vault of videos, got them out there, and then started to realise that I wanted to sort of do YouTube a bit more seriously, because at the very beginning it was just somewhere for me to put my videos and then I could look back at them. But then I was seeing that some of them were doing really well on the views, so I thought, you know what, I'm going to turn this into something that I'm going to do weekly, under no pressure. I just want to enjoy what I'm doing and show people trails that they are more than likely to be able to ride, because I'm not at the sort of skill set where people think I can't do any of that. So people can relate to the content, I like to think. And then I just asked, I just sent emails, you know, I was nice about it. And what I don't like in particular, for 99.9% of emails that are sent, you don't even get a reply to sort of say, you know what, Mike, thanks for your application, but unfortunately we haven't got any places available this year because we've supported other riders, for example. Yeah, that could be quite disappointing when you spend so long wording stuff. But then there are companies out there like Flow Vision, Instinct Distribution, Stanton Bikes, you've got Slick Whips, and Dirty Rides that do invest the time to take you a bit more seriously and look at content to make sure it's what they want, because it is a business model. And I think sometimes people think that once you've got a sponsor or a channel supporter, that it's stuff for free, and it's not the way it works, so it's got to be that two-way partnership of, a company provides you something, whether it's a product, a cleaner product, or a bike frame, and then you go out there and effectively promote what is being offered to you. And then once sales are made, that's how the bond sort of continues. So the true part of it is you've just got to be consistent and persistent with what you're doing. So if you want to get any sponsorship or support, then you have to have something to offer people, is the be all end all of it. And if they like what they see, I feel very fortunate, I really do, that people can look at what I do and think, yeah, that's the sort of stuff we want to support. But just go for it, mate. And if you get turned down, it's not the end of the world. If you don't ask, you don't get. And that really is true for most things in my life. If you don't ask, you don't get. So what have you got to lose, kind of thing. And Phil, not a problem, mate. Working on people's designs and lost track of time. But hey, better late than never. Phil, always good that you can drop in, mate. So yeah, thanks for joining in on the chat as usual. So that's good. And that's good because Phil is someone who supports my channel, and he's here in the chat who provides all the, well, in fact, got one on now. So yeah, provides all the gear to the channel and my Facebook group. And that partnership, answering the question of support, works really well for Phil as a business and works really well for me, because obviously we're pushing out fantastic products, and that relationship will go on for many years to come, I hope. Hibernation, hey Russ, I'm new to all of this, but I'm loving it. But the bottom bracket keeps failing. Yeah, all right. So Russ, I'm going to leave that sort of question with you if you can, because yeah, I'm just completely gormless when it comes to that kind of thing. So hopefully you'll get your answer off Russ. I don't know why that hid, but TS, Liked, subscribe, share. Like, subscribe, share. Roy, anyone know who runs Swanley Group Nesting Bird Network? They included Will Mosley in the post recently, so I guess it's a mutual acquaintance. Yeah, so hopefully someone can answer that for you, mate, because I'm really, again, not too sure. But what I did see, Roy, there was some kind of a Portsmouth networking opportunity going on, wasn't there? So are they looking to do more trails around the area to get involved in? And if so, was that more of the sort of jump lines that seemed to be in the picture? I'm not sure if that was from another place or not, but it looks very interesting, mate. If that is happening, that would be good. Andy Wedge, does your daughter ride? Try and build my 9-year-old daughter's confidence. Maybe we could all have a ride with the kids at QE when things relax. Very good idea. My kids don't. I said a couple of weeks ago, I tried to get both my kids into them because one's 14, one's 8, and they hated it. It was emotional, to be honest. It wasn't an enjoyable experience for anybody. So we kind of got halfway up the blue and then had to turn back and put the stuff back in the van, which was a real shame because I had high expectations that it would work out and everybody would enjoy themselves. And instead, we just had to put the bikes in the van and go for a walk. But I think if I was to do it again, what I probably would have done is taken them to Swinley. It's local to me, but that is an area you can go to. There isn't, if you pick the trails wisely, there aren't too many climbs, and the kids can just enjoy it a little bit more. Whereas the blue climb, for anybody that's been to QECP, for a younger age group, doing it for the first time especially, it's particularly challenging. So instantly became unenjoyable. But mentioning about the kids riding, that actually was set up as a couple of events, maybe about a year, 18 months ago. And there were some mums and dads that went up there with their kids as part of the MTB Fanatics network and went out there and rode the trails at QECP. So it's a fantastic idea and one worth sticking up in the group when, like you say, things relax and we can get back to normality. Oh, Roy, is that Swinley? Right, okay, thanks for that, mate. Yeah, it does look impressive, though, if that obviously goes ahead. From Ludi, you're not in the Navy anymore, mate. Yes, I am in the Navy still, 23 years and counting. I leave in 2026 now, and that'll be 27 years done. So if I don't get extended, which I hope I do, because I'm not ready to leave yet, then I would have to leave in 2026. But hopefully next year I get another 5 years to add on top. So I can stay employable in the Navy to the age of 55 if the Navy wants it. But if, as time moves forward, things change, manpower changes, they might say, no, bugger off, we want someone else. And then that's it. I have to go and get a job in Civvy Street, which I'm just not prepared to do. So I'd rather stay in for as long as I can. You wouldn't think I'm in the Navy though, would you, to be honest? The amount of times I'm out on my bike during sort of normal periods of time anyway. Swinley Rider, I remember reading an article a long time ago about Avan destroying a load of trails around the Mass. I think that's how it was referred to as. Any ideas what's happened about it? I do know that, because I've rode the Mass myself, and last time I went there, they were on about, there was a petition going around actually to not do all the tree felling up there. So that fell through, and it was tree rot and all the diseases that goes around through trees, so it had to be taken down and managed, and that's all been done. But I've been told, reliably informed by people that I used to ride with up there, that the trails are even better up there now. As for sort of sabotage and stuff like that, I'm not too sure whether things have been destroyed, but the trails were amazing before, and to be told they're even better now really does beg the question what's been done up there since. So I'm looking forward to seeing what's happened there and giving that a go, obviously, when we can. I'm going to come to you in a second, Alan. 2 ticks, all right, because the chat's doing well here. So Will got my slip whips order today, and actually a banging product, removes dirt super well and makes the bike look new. Recommend. Will, that's amazing. Phil, who runs that company, knows that I'm piecing together a review, but also knows that I'm not going out riding as regularly as I normally do. So I want to make sure that I manage that properly. But to buy that product already, mate, and put it to the test and provide that feedback is absolutely fantastic. So thanks for doing that. Go and order some more. It's all good for me, and it sounds like it's amazing for you, which is great to hear. If you wanted, I'm not. I may as well try and promote it, guys, at the same time. But Slick Whips have sort of supported me in the last couple of weeks, and if you head over to that website, slickwhips.co.uk, and use the code SlickWhips10, you get 10% off. So go over and give it a go. Great products. And there's a new range of stuff coming as well, which I saw last week. I can't really sort of say what it is at the moment, but stuff that would suit everybody's needs, put it that way. James, we've got James in the house. Do you think we'll ever beat the swindling number of riders at that crazy event? Rules permitting, obviously. And where else do you think would be a good place to ride that size? Oh, God. If I'm honest, I don't think we'll ever ride in them numbers again. Which is a real shame, because that was a moment that the group really felt like it was coming together and doing exactly what it was designed for. So 72 people turning up to that event, 90 plus saying they were coming, and for that amount of people to turn up, it was just sensational to see. But I just think we're past them days because of COVID, and it's a real shame. But I think likely places that you would get the higher numbers still are the Bike Park Wales, because people just love going there. And maybe an organised weekend somewhere in Wales for the weekend. And, for those that weren't in that conversation before, I had to cancel it twice, but we had something like 30, 40 people going at one point, and then we went into another lockdown. So things remain really positive for the group. But it just needs to be managed well as well, because while you get these high numbers, it can be quite overwhelming to then go down all the trails together. So we had to sort of come up with a plan prior to manage it effectively, and we broke up into 3 groups of different levels of ability and fitness, and then they went away, and we never really crossed paths, and it worked fantastically well at Swinley, and turned out to be such a successful event that received nothing but positive feedback. There was only a couple of people on that ride that just didn't quite have the fitness, but actually still equally enjoyed it for the time that they're out on the trail, which is amazing. So James, I hope so, mate, but I don't think so, if we're being honest. Enemy Tunes, you actually really inspire me. Within the next year, I hopefully have enough money for a new bike and a good action cam, and that I can use to record. Genuinely so happy that you're on YouTube, mate. That means a lot to me as well. So you can see by the smile, I sort of blushing a bit there, mate. But yeah, it's nice to receive the feedback. It's not something I sort of hear too often, because you don't expect to hear it. But when someone can, like yourself, take the time to write that down, it does give it all a bit of purpose. It puts it into perspective what I'm trying to do. So if that's the kind of vibe it gives you, then already it's achieved its goal for me. And then hopefully that continues through to a lot of other people as well, which is just absolutely mint for me. So thank you very much for saying that. Alan Pritchard, Mike, have you still got your school curtains under that hat today? I can't show you, but if you look at my Facebook page, Mike JP, you'll see a picture of me about 24 years ago with some curtains, and then comparing it to a photo of me to today. And that came about because I've been invited to a school reunion, which is going to happen next year, maybe. And then someone sent me a picture of myself, and it just made me chuckle. So I had to stick it up, because I don't even think I've got that picture. So yeah, go over and have a look. Absolutely class. But it's amazing to see how many other people in that group, people that I hang around with, friends, had that same haircut. So don't give me too much shit, because the rest of you look quite special with me as well. But no, mate, we're rocking this these days. This is the COVID cut, and yeah, it does the job. Roy, yeah, the old land refuge site in Port Solent. Right, okay, I know exactly where you mean now then. Likely a Southampton bike park type setup, although I don't know if the council have been approached yet. Mate, that sounds brilliant. And actually, that plot of land has been there for so long anyway, hasn't it? So if they turn that into something up there, that could be quite an attraction. And you've got the parking there. So yeah, brilliant. Look forward to seeing what they're doing there. I'm not going to say it's going to be my cup of tea. I know it's yours because you're into all that kind of stuff. But I'll certainly go up there because it's local and have a look and see what it's all about. Will, cheers for joining in on the chat, mate. As always, great to see you in here. And, you know, thanks for that feedback on the Slick Whip stuff. And see you next week, mate. Phil from Dirty Rides, a very good question and answer about sponsorship. Worst thing I personally get and I don't like is sponsor me. And as Mike says, let the company know what you can do for them and how to grow together. Yeah, totally agree. I think you've got to go in there with a smart, with your head sort of screwed on the right way and work out what can be done as a partnership. Because if you think that a company is just going to throw stuff at you and say, yeah, this seems a good idea, it's never going to work that way. It's a two-way thing. And to not sort of harp too much about what I've said, if you get that relationship working, then the rest just falls into place and it becomes a really nice setup, to be honest. And for everybody that supports my channel, it's just nice and easy because it's all chilled out. There's no pressure to produce anything for anybody's behalf. It's just all about going out there, enjoying it and pushing out those brands. And for everybody that has supported my channel so far, I know that that's worked really well, which is fantastic, really. Andy Wedge, park at the top, do the top section of the Blue Descent, cut back to the car park before the tabletop, and still a climb, but less stressful. Mate, I have done that, but I didn't do that until after I took the kids. I think that's actually more when I took my dad up there, who is probably in the chat, to be honest. He's just there silent. And we started off up that area just to make things a little bit easier. And yeah, totally agree, mate. It was a lot easier. So yeah, you've just got to manage it more effectively. But still, if I could have taken them anywhere, the kids would have been better starting off at Swinley. I really didn't. I thought I had sort of planned it well, but I didn't think they'd struggle as much as they did, which is just one of those things. In hindsight, eh? But they've got basket bikes now, so it's almost like they sort of threw the mountain biking back in my face and got basket bikes as if to say, we're not doing that again, which is a shame. But yeah, the message was received and understood. Andy Pinder, yeah, I'd already started talking to venues about hiring them out exclusively if our numbers made sense. So yes, we will beat those numbers hopefully on our exclusive Fanatics days. I hope so, mate. It's, you know, I think we're going to have to wait a little bit. It'll be, I mean, I would love it because that's what it's all about, getting those high numbers of riders out there having fun and making new riding buddies. You know, from that Swinley ride, going back to it, it was just incredible to see how many people kept in touch after that and then became riding buddies. So people that they hadn't met until that morning, they're now friends with. It's just incredible how the setup works. James is saying, Mike, can you pass a bleep test still? I can. It's kind of weird because in the Navy now, I can't speak for everybody, but in the Navy now, if you get an excellent pass, you don't have to do a fitness test for 2 years. So my last, because I only do the bleep test, you have a choice, you see. It's a 1.5 miles that you have a set time to achieve for the age group you're in. I'm not able to tell you what that is because I haven't done a 1.5 miles for about 15 years. I do the bleep test every time. The highest I ever got was level 13, but my last one was 11.7 at 39. So I was quite impressed. You know, I was obviously fitter when I was younger, but I'm still quite impressed with that achievement there. And I'd imagine as life goes on, that number will get a little bit less. But I only needed, I think, 9.4 to pass. So kept in there, kept at it, and then I just had enough in the end. Tim Stracy, have you ever ridden the Kraken at Sevenoaks? I haven't, mate, no. I've seen a lot of Sam Pilgrim's videos up there. You went there today, really good, perhaps a tamer version of Redlands. Right, okay. So I really enjoy Redlands. So I think if you're saying that, then it seems to be within my reach, because when you watch Sam Pilgrim ride up there, he's just absolutely crackers anyway. But yeah, I think that's another one for the bucket list then, because like a lot of places, you see it there, but it's just the opportunity to get to some of these places. So, mate, cracking for getting there, and I'll put that on my paper ready to do, I think. Swinley Rider, yeah, that's great news. And Hibernation, gotta shoot, but keep up the good work, mate. Absolutely, and thank you, buddy. Lou D, where are you based, bud? You're at Yeovil. I'm at HMS Collingwood. So I've been there 2 years now, and I've got a year to go before I've got to then move on somewhere else. And it could be another job in Collingwood. That's the truth of it. But I don't know. It depends what my branch needs nearer the time. So we'll have to wait and see. But hope you're enjoying your time down at Yeovil. I've got a mate down there actually who does a lot of gunnery instruction down there. So he says it's all right. So let us know, mate. Is it any good down there? You're Wafu, I take it. Swinley Rider, even after lockdown, my guess is, depending where you live, we will probably go back to a tier system. So probably not a lot will change for the group rides, as some people can't travel. Yeah, totally, mate. I think we're just going to be restricted by how things go. But I don't want to sort of talk about that too much because it's obviously the weekly topic, isn't it? You know, sort of see how things go. But as you say underneath there, the rule of 6 will probably be a thing again. And to be honest, 6 people, I'd be delighted with that, because when that was the rule before, it was fantastic. You know, it's just the right amount of people to go out with and have an absolute blast with. And you could separate into a group if someone didn't want to do a trail as well. And it's really easy and manageable, that sort of figure. And even on the group rides where we would have more people turn up in the car park, we were still disappearing in groups of 6, all doing different things, and it worked out really well. So yeah, it's a good figure that hopefully comes back. Well, Swinley is too tame even for the kids. I think I did take Isabel there once, actually. There might be a video on there, and we went there with my dad, and she actually did. This was the one that really sort of sold the fact that she didn't want to do the biking. She had a couple of moments, let's say, going around the trail, but I was so proud of her because although she was whinging all the way, she did it, you know. So I have to take my hat off to her there, and she was absolutely pooped when we got her in the van and I sort of took her home. But yeah, she didn't go back out after that. So I did try more than once going back to the same thing there, and Swinley killed her, Will. Absolutely killed her. Savage place. Yeah, Will, totally agree. It's a safer place for you to ride, isn't it, mate? That could be your new local. Lou D, fair one. You're not involved in any of the Gravity Enduro stuff. You're not that, yeah, not bad down here for riding, to be fair. Bit of a drive to the decent spots, but there's a few around. Lou D, if you look on the channel, mate, you'll see that I went up to Wales to do the Gravity Enduro for a week with the Navy team. And then that's where I met Jim from Pin TV as well, which was amazing. So I got to ride with him as he joined in to sort of shred with the GE team. The downside to it is I had a smash-in time, but it was also a time where I was heavily involved with work. So I just couldn't get the time off. So while it seemed like a really great idea at the time, and I enjoyed the week's worth of training, the downside to it was actually the fact that I couldn't commit to the rides, because it was that difficult balance of working away all week, coming home for the weekend, and then going riding. And I wasn't seeing my family much as it was. So I had to sort of prioritize what's more important. And as much as I love biking, some of you will prioritize differently, but my family mean more to me than the bike. So I had to sort of say about a month or so in, look, you know, I'm really sorry, guys, can't sort of compete. Which is a shame, but I still ride with some of the people that are in that team. So I made a couple of friends out of that, which is great. And I was offered a great opportunity there, but unfortunately I just couldn't do it. So maybe one day, but realistically, probably not. Are you involved in it, mate? Because you know, it's a good thing if you've got that capacity to do it. Absolutely. Swinley Rider, oh yeah, gotta look at the positive side of things. Can't wait for some group rides again. Yeah, totally. And don't know what happened to the Pork. I think it's been sold off, and the new bike park was cut. Was that that jump area? No. What's that? Sorry, Swindley Rider, PRC, pork? Was that illegal area that never sort of came to fruition because they couldn't get any sort of public liability in there? Is that one? Yeah, Ludi, yeah, definitely might see you around. Part of the club, not done any racing due to injury though. Yeah, totally, mate. And hope you obviously recover from that and get yourself back into it. Oh, Penhurst Bike Park, I think it was referred to. Ah, right, okay. Yeah, I'm not too sure to be fair, mate. Ooh, Will, are you involved? That's interesting to know. Ah, right, okay. It's starting to make sense now, right? So that's in the WhatsApp chat, isn't it? Yeah, yeah, I've got you. I've got you. Yeah, if you get involved in that, it's an absolute smashing opportunity. And I think it is still Greg that runs that GE team. And absolutely smashing guy. Got on really well with all of them, to be honest. So, yeah, get yourself involved in that. Pete Bundy, 6th aside in March, please, Boris. Yeah, totally agree, mate. I can't wait, honestly. I think it's on the horizon to be able to at least go out there and do something now. Pete Sanger, smashing guy as well. So, yeah, that's where I met him. We sort of became sort of riding buddies from there, really, and been sort of riding, not very often, but, we meet up every now and again and have a ride. And he is another level compared to me. Very, very good rider indeed. Right, guys, an hour and 16 has passed. As usual, I've enjoyed it. Unless anybody's got sort of any immediate questions, and of course I'll stay on and answer those. But I'm going to go and finish this off. I'm probably going to go and tune into Pin TV because I normally like to watch his channel and see how he's getting on. But I will come back and do this again next week. So it would be smashing if you could join in again, because I do enjoy doing this, just answering questions, having a chit chat, and it breaks up the weekend, which is amazing as well. But I can see here that I've just got one from Tim Stracy. I'm just curious, have you ever broken anything? I broke my shoulder on a drop at Epping in October. You ride plenty of tricky stuff at speed. Mate, I have busted my body up to the max. The worst injury is my shoulder still. Will can relate to this because he's just damaged his rotator cuff, but unfortunately I just kept repeating the injuries, not going through a recovery process, and I've got lifelong injuries there that will not heal, and I have to take pills to help me get to sleep. It's that bad. And they just kind of knock me out until the morning. Problem is, those pills, when you wake up, they make me feel pissed, like I've been drinking literally all night, and that's the side effects to them. So I don't like taking them, but they're the only medication that the hospital's ever given me that actually seems to work. So hopefully just things repair as time goes on, but we'll have to see how it goes. But you just got to take care of your body. Broken elbows, broken fingers, just all the injuries that you kind of expect bike riding. Nobody wants to come off, but when you do and you have an absolute stinker, it just really does hurt. And the older you get, unfortunately, the longer it takes to recover, and it is true. And then all you can hope is that when you come off again, you don't land in the same spot, and that seems to be my problem. I always land in the same areas where my injuries are, which are all on the left-hand side of my body, and that's because I'm left-handed, I'm left-footed, and I just seem to always fall on my dominant side. Crazy. Swindley Rider, any idea if we could have a GPX file section on the Fanatics page? Already beat you there, buddy. If you go on the page and you have a look at a section called files, it's in there. And some people uploaded some GPX files. It did go very quiet, but it still exists. So go and visit that, mate. It's already there, and you can grab some GPX files or upload some of your own into it, which is pretty good. Right. Guys, I am going to leave it at that. I've answered everybody's question this week, hopefully. No internet problems, which is an all-time first. Thanks for tuning into the chat. All right, I bid you farewell. Stay safe and hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend, guys. All right, next Saturday, 7 o'clock, different beer, but same mountain bike chat. All right, see you later, guys. All right, thank you very much. Ciao. Ciao, ciao.